Hello, this is Matthew,
And this is Aiden.
and this is the Late Night Sci-Fi podcast. This is not just the first episode of Late Night Sci-Fi, but also um, of this channel. The first proper podcast on the channel, um, podcast portal. If we continue to use that name, I think it's a good name. We'll probably keep it. But the first episode is going to be discussing the 5 first episodes of Ultraman. Um, Aiden, I know you've never seen this before, so this is just the first thing we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll go in order of the episodes. And yeah, so we'll start with the first one, which is Ultra Operation Number 1. In that episode, Ultraman is there. This monster Bemlar crashes to Earth, and then the Science Patrol, aka the Science Special Search Party, Triple SP, they go out there, and they're kind of like the team that investigates that monstery stuff. I don't know if what they did before that. They're just kind of there, but they go there and investigate, and then Hayata gets accidentally killed by Ultraman. So Ultraman gives him the beta capsule, which allows him to give his life to him, and that way Hayata can transform into Ultraman. And so, yeah, he fights Bemlar, and then that's it. So, what was your thoughts on that first episode? Because you've never seen anything before.
Yeah, this is probably my least favorite episode out of all of them. Um, I was expecting something a little bit different. It was kind of weird how Ultraman only really showed up to do fighting at the very end of the episode, and that's what happens in all the others too. So that's something I wasn't expecting. And at first I did think it was really cheesy, but then it kind of grew on me, and I'm starting to like it more.
Yeah, that's usually how it starts out, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna notice that's kind of what happens throughout the whole series. At least the original. The other ones
Yeah.
focus more on the ultras as time goes on. Not some of the ultras just like have a human form. Ultraman doesn't. He just like is with Hayata. Um, like Ultra 7 in Ultra 7 he has no human he has a human form. He doesn't like merge with someone else. Um, yeah, so in this so like he can act as Ultra 7 whenever he wants to because that's who he is, but in here Hayata isn't Ultraman. Ultraman's a separate being and he just
Yeah.
transforms into him. But yeah, the first episode is kind of average, I'd say. I mean that's how it is, it's just an introduction to the story and stuff.
An origin story.
Yeah, it's the origin story.
Yeah.
You can't really say too much on the characters because we haven't really spent any time with them yet. They're just kind of there. It's just the basic introduction of everything. Um, yeah. What do you think of the monster, Bemlar or Bemular, whatever it's called, Bemlar?
Um,
He's
I
basically
don't know. He was a pretty basic
yeah.
monster.
He's about as
Yeah.
basic as you can get.
Yeah. Just a giant green lizardy type of monster.
Just like a cheap, a cheaper Godzilla. Let's say that.
Yeah.
But he's fine. I mean, he's more original looking than some others, which you'll see eventually. But let's go into the second episode, which is Shoot the Invader, which introduces Alien Bolton, who's going to reappear in a lot of other series. He's one of those reoccurring characters, but he's an alien and he's there. Was it like Ide or Ito, as he's called in the English dub? Um, yeah, he's telling the story of how he got the black eye. And it's just like this whole ordeal with this alien, right? It's the first episode to introduce an alien, and so you just see how they handle an alien for the first time, and then eventually Ultraman beats it. It's a pretty simple plot. There's not much there, and then it turns out after all that Ide just got a he just he just fell off his bed, and
Yeah.
that's how he got the black eye. I thought that was pretty funny, but he's the comic relief if you couldn't tell. But that was the second episode. What did you think of that episode? How would you rank it? Because you said the last one was your least favorite.
Uh, I don't really. I don't know. It's probably in my top two because it's interesting because you see the alien throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
It keeps using like the disappearing and reappearing thing and
Yeah.
freezing people.
Yes. The introduction of the I think the aliens can a lot of the time be more interesting than the monsters. Although it's not always about like the monsters or the aliens. Sometimes there's another kind of story behind it. I'm not saying the monsters are like boring or anything, but aliens, have more character just because they're more I don't know, they're just more I don't know. They're all living beings, but aliens just have a kind of more of an evil vibe to them. Like the monsters are just sometimes roaming around or whatever, and then they just happen to stumble upon some stuff. But aliens are deliberately there to do what they want. And the alien Bolton, I think Alien Bolton is really neat. He's really interesting looking, but I think there's a lot of other more interesting looking aliens. But this one, but I think the episode was a good introduction to Alien Bolton. You really felt like like very helpless because he just kept it was one alien and he kept messing with everybody. And then the only thing I didn't really like about the episode is how all the fights took place in the sky. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, it wasn't bad or anything. But I would have liked to seen Ultraman fight Bolton for the first time on land. But it was a pretty good episode for the, focusing on the alien. So that was pretty good. Then we have, I guess we'll move on to the next episode, which is, yeah, I'd say Shoot the Invader was a pretty average episode, but I'd say it's slightly better than the first one for me, just because the main antagonist is a bit more interesting. Definitely, you can do a lot, since it was focusing on Alien Bolton rather than, I don't know, just the introduction. But anyway,
Yeah.
episode 3, we have so it's Go Forth Science Patrol, right? Or whatever it is. Sally Forth Science Patrol. I don't know. March. I don't know. Whatever. It's got many titles, but anyway. So basically, there's this monster called Naranga, and it's invisible and it feeds on electricity. So Ultraman has to come and fight it, and then there's this boy, right? And he's
Yeah.
there, and then Ultraman beats at the end. It's a pretty simple plot, but I just like it the most so far out of these three, just because, um, I really love Naranga as a monster, and he's going to be appearing in the upcoming Shin Ultraman movie, which is really cool because he hasn't appeared in a while, or I haven't seen him in a while, but he's really one of my favorites. I don't know why. He's got an interesting design and powers. And then there was
Yeah,
that.
it's a really cool concept.
Yeah. Um, I think it's yeah. This is. What did you think of Naranga?
I would probably rank this episode as third, maybe. Um,
Yeah.
I really liked the idea of how he had to feed off the electricity, and then, um, although there were some things about it that I thought were weird, like, um, there would be scenes where it would show a bunch of damage in the background, and on the next scene there's like nothing in the background at all, which makes it really
Yeah, I
there's a
guess.
word for it where like it's something like called dramatic suspense or something where it when you're watching something it makes you feel like it's actually real, and then once you see something like that it makes you stop liking it as much because of how fake it seems or something.
Okay, I can. I think I understand where you're coming from. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just because I don't know. I maybe it's because I just I've just watched. To be honest, I didn't rewatch any of these episodes because I've rewatched Ultraman as much as I've rewatched Gravity Falls. And that's yeah. I mean it's twice, but that's the most I've been able to rewatch shows because I watch a lot of other new shows too, and the but it was still pretty impressive amount of I rewatched those shows twice, but yeah, good. I think that was a good episode. It wasn't amazing, I think, but the monster itself is really what made it good for me. I really like the special effects and set design in this episode. It's one of those
Yeah.
episodes where you're just in it to see the monster do stuff. Um, and then there's that like what's the name of that there's that boy. What's his name? Hoshino, right? He's like that child that just shows
Yeah.
up. He's more important later on, or like right now he's just kind of there. But I mean, well, he's not always that important, but he is he gets more important. Yeah, he's fine. Um, but yeah, he just runs up with the gun and starts shooting at the
Yeah.
thing. Like he thinks he's gonna beat it. Those guns are really powerful. And also, I just gotta mention Ultraman's face looks very unsettling. I don't know if you noticed that, but um, his early suits, or his early mask design, was originally supposed to have like a moving mouth, but it ended up not working. So the masks looks really weird, and they won't end up changing it until I believe episode like 14. I think that might be the last time it's seen. Uh, but yeah, it'll look better after that. So then we go to we have 5 seconds before the explosion, which there's this monster named Ragon, and it lives in the sea, and then all of a sudden, um, they send out this like nuke, right? And they launch it into space or whatever, and then it falls down into the sea, and it gets attached to Ragon, and then Ragon comes out of the water, but Ultraman can't trigger the nuke when he has to fight him. So it's a kind of intense in that way. I really like it because of that intensity, and then Ragon is just one of my favorite monsters. Ultra Kaiju from the original series, I guess, because he reminds me of the creature from the Black Lagoon, but big.
Yeah, he's basically just a giant sized creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's everything else is pretty much fine. Um, I like I like Ragon, and that's really it. It's nice. It's a better than average plot. I can tell you that. And yeah, I can't really say anything else about it. I think it's really just that. I mean, Ragon actually appeared in Ultra Q originally, but was not that big. Um, so it's not like they're reusing the suit for a new monster. It's like the same creature. It just like grew in size, I guess, which proves that
Yeah.
Ultra Q is canon with Ultraman. But anyway, um, yeah, pretty good episode. Then we get to Secret of the Milliganda. Um, that's the one where this a scientist finds a rare plant that is determined to destroy humanity. Um, what did you think of that one?
Um, before we go into this episode, the last episode, one thing that I thought was kind of funny about it was how they were talking about how they needed to get the bomb out of the ocean quick because just a ship going over could set off the bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire time he was fighting the creature while it was shaking around, he
Yeah.
flew off the creature's back. It didn't explode.
I know that was so. That's why it's so entertaining. Like you're just like, oh, it's gonna fall,
Yeah.
because it's just really precarious the way it's just hanging there. But yeah, let's get into the next one, I guess. So,
Yeah.
what did you think of Secret of the Milliganda?
I would probably put that one in my top two. I really liked the plant monster thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it sprayed from its like mouth thing. If it was like acid or something.
It sprayed Febreze. That's what it sprayed. That's what it looked like it sprayed. Anyway, the thing I never actually liked this episode, at least monster wise, because I think Green Mons, which is what the monster is called. I think it's just like really stupid looking the way it's just like a green blob with one arm, and it shoots like air from its mouth. I mean, I liked the angle the episode was going for with like a slasher, um, kind of like a slasher film aesthetic, but it was just like the monster itself. I think really, I just really wasn't a fan of the design. I think if you're gonna do a plant monster, you could do it a lot. But I think Biolante from Godzilla vs. Biolante is like how you do a great plant giant monster. This one, I mean, I don't know. I just wasn't a big fan of it. I think could have just been a little bit better. But what do you think? Anything else? Any other thoughts on the episode?
Yeah, I think a reason why I did like it so much is because it reminded me of the slasher movie formula at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And that it, like the design for the monster was very unique from all the other ones. Most of them are just like lizardy designs.
Yeah.
And I liked how different it was.
Yeah, I can confidently say that I was never a huge fan of I don't really like the I don't really like Green Mons, but I like the plot of the episode.
Yeah.
I've known that for a while because I've watched it multiple times, but it's fine. Um, it's not one I rewatch often, but it's kind of just there. And I think that's it for the five first episodes of Ultraman. So if I were to rate them, I would probably rate them from least favorite to favorite. It would go Secret of the Milliganda, um, Ultra Operation Number One, Shoot the Invaders, Science Patrol Move Out, and 5 seconds before the explosion. Do you have any thoughts like that, or or you just want to leave it at what you said?
Yeah, some of them are hard to rank, and I keep like switching the places in my head. So I think I'm just gonna leave it because I can't really decide what I want for the rankings.
Yeah, I can understand that. But it's a pretty yeah. I really those first episodes are pretty average, but they're not bad starters. Honestly, I think the next five episodes are just fantastic. They're like some of my favorites. Um, or at least most of them are. But I think the next five episodes are going to be even better. So if you start watching those, I think that you might enjoy them even. I mean, I can't speak for you, but personally, I enjoyed them a lot more. I think they're going to be really awesome episodes.
Okay, that sounds good because even these five were really getting me into it more than I thought they would, at least.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be it's gonna be really, even more awesome watch those episodes. Yeah. From here on out, it should be better. There are some like streaks of not so good episodes, and there's some streaks of better than average episodes. But there, and then there's just like it's a lot of just random. These first five ones were pretty average, but next five should be better. They're definitely gonna like I think all of the next ones are at least average. Like none of them are bad. These next five, but we'll discuss them when we do the next one. So, yeah, what do you think of the characters before we leave? Mm.
Um,
Like there's like the five. There's Irashi, which is the trigger happy like weapons guy. Um, and then there's Ide. He's the guy who makes the stuff. He's like the inventor, and he's the comic relief one. Fuji, the female. That's all. That's all I can say about her right now. Um, there's Captain Mura. I mean I call him Captain Mura because that's what he's called in the English dub. He's got a longer name than that, I think. But then we have Hayata, and he's Ultraman. So, did any of them stand out to you in any way?
yeah. I'm having a difficult time remembering the names for some of them, but
Yeah,
I've been remembering the names of like people who are different from all the rest. Like I can remember Fuji's name because she's the only female.
yeah,
I can remember Hayata because he's Ultraman,
yeah.
or at least Ultraman's.
Host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I can remember Hoshino the kid because he's a kid, but
Yeah.
all the others, they wear like the exact same outfits and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
know.
hard
It can be really confusing sometimes, especially as it goes on later over time. Because there's only like five main like people in the force in this series, and then it goes up to like seven, and then they all look even more the same. So like these are like the easiest ones to remember. But Captain Mora or Matsumura, whatever he's called in the subtitle, he's the captain. I think he's the shortest one. I don't know, but he's the oldest one, and I don't know, whatever. He's there. You'll get used to the names eventually. Then there is Arashi. He is stocky, I think. I don't remember, but then there's Ide, and he's the tallest one. I think he's the comic really. But anyway, the characters. I don't think you get the best feel for them in the first episodes, but they'll get. Well, I think you probably get the best feel for Ide right now because he got like almost a whole episode about him. But that's I guess we'll talk about him another time. But that's the first 5 episodes of Ultraman. I guess we'll do the next review another time. Um, so yeah, any final thoughts before we close off?
Not really. Just that I'm excited to see what happens in the next 5 episodes, since you said they were a lot better.
Yeah, I really love some of the like one of them coming up is one of my like I think I think at least 2 of the next episodes we're gonna see are like on my top 10 list for all the for like top 10 best episodes of the original Ultraman. But I think I might make a I haven't like made a video for that, like a list of that, but maybe when we get through this whole to the end of this sort of like um this specific series on this podcast, I'll do that because once we get to the end of the Ultraman episodes of the podcast. But yeah, that's all for this video. See you guys in the next podcast, whichever one. It might be another one of these. It might be for something different. But yeah, see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.